Welcome to today's show. I am your host, Eric Darnley Small, and thank you so much for joining me today. This is going to be a bit of a different show than I've been doing recently. I've been talking a lot about Trump and Trump 2.0, but I want to talk about the Democrats. I want to get back to where I think the focus should be right now if you're a Democrat, if you're liberal, because you probably are feeling down. The holidays are here, and if you're in a family that might have some conservatives, some Democrats, some Republicans, you're probably feeling a little bit down. But there is hope ahead, and if you don't listen to the pundits, if you don't listen to the talking heads, you might actually hear some of the stuff that you may be missing because they're not talking about this. So, but before I get to that, if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy what you see here, you can always like and subscribe to the channel, and you can click that bell to be notified if there are any new videos. I try to put out a video as often as I can. Sometimes I'm not that successful. I had hoped to be more successful earlier this year when I started this whole thing, but slowly but surely I think I'm getting up and running so that I'll have more content coming out in the new year. And again, as always, I put links to everything I'm showing you here so that you can read the articles yourself. They're at Mastodon, at mastodon.vtip.me/@ what you missed. And you can take a look at the articles there. You can also reach out to the show and let me know if you agree with my assessment, if you think I'm full of crap. If you want to share some stories with me, please do there. Okay, let me get into it. So, Democrats know not to take anything for granted right now. Very important statement, very important assessment, not to take anything for granted. I hope that, and I think that many of the people who are on the Democratic side, who are part of leadership, recognize that that's an important thing since this election. And I think that, again, you've got a narrative that's going out there that one is from the talking heads, the folks who make a lot of money being consultants, and there are the actual people who are on the ground. And I'm hearing and seeing some very interesting things, and that's what the focus of this article, of this episode, is today. So they're not taking anything for granted. But I think one of the things that's very important is to recognize that the midterms is not where the action is. Off-year elections test Democrats' potential for comeback. And this is Tal Axelrod, this is ABC News report. And a lot of people would think that it's the midterms, not 2025, but 2026 is going to be the next time for Democrats to start testing where they're at and seeing where they're at with the base. Not true, according to this article, and from what I've seen. Again, this is the new normal. We've got to be ahead on this stuff now. This is our new reality. But I don't want people to forget, and I don't want you to miss the fact that New Jersey and Virginia governor's races are in 2025. Election season comes early next year. And, if you listen to a lot of the people, they're talking about midterms. No, the next opportunity is for Democrats in Virginia to take the governorship back, and for us to keep the governorship in New Jersey. So this is from ABC News Online. Again, links will be on the Mastodon. Just when you thought you had a chance to take a breather, nope. The next race to watch will not be congressional midterms in 2026, but races in blue New Jersey and purple Virginia. Why? That's me saying that, by the way. That's not the article. I'm going to quote the article now. Again, ABC News, Tal Axelrod is the reporter. And it goes on to say, both Governors Phil Murphy and Glenn Youngkin cannot run. New Jersey Governor Democrat Phil Murphy is term limited out, and Virginia Governor Republican Youngkin is barred from running for 2 consecutive terms. Murphy is popular, but could voters take discontent over shutdowns during COVID out on a successor? Youngkin is considered a quote-unquote sane Republican, but Virginia has been trending blue, right? They just flipped a House seat, right? First on the ABC article, then a recap on Virginia politics. I'm sorry, I'm reading this now and I'm realizing that this is my own writing. So this is not the article yet. Here's where the article begins. According to the article, the possible candidates are New Jersey Reps Josh Gottheimer and Mikey Sherrill, Newark Mayor Baz Baraka, Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop, former state senator Stephen Sweeney, and New Jersey Education Associate President Sean Spiller are among the Democrats running to replace Murphy. Former GOP gubernatorial nominee Jack Ciattarelli, who fell short of unseating Murphy by about 3 points in 2021, is running again in New Jersey, as are other candidates who are casting themselves as more aligned with the antagonistic towards Trump's ban. So this is where this is going to be very interesting in New Jersey. Jersey Democrats, Jersey Republicans in the House are going to be on notice and on guard because Donald Trump is going to try and get the Republicans very early on to do some very unpopular things. And you have a narrow enough majority on the GOP side in the House that it's going to be very difficult. You cannot lose many votes. And I think if you lose the entire New Jersey delegation, that's ball game. And I'm going to get into that in a minute in this article, in another article. But this is part of the reason why although we didn't take the House back, we got a narrow win. And it's important that we have that narrow win because there's not a lot we're going to be able to do to block judges, to block all of these other things. But passing laws like getting rid of the Affordable Care Act, doing something about Social Security, tax cuts, particularly this huge tax cut, Republicans are going to want to pass for the wealthiest 1%, getting rid of Social Security, privatizing it, Medicare, Medicaid, all of that is going to impact what happens in the Jersey gubernatorial race because some of these guys are going to get a lot of pressure on them. And it's going to be the difference between a possible Republican. Let's not forget, it was not that long ago. Jersey had a Republican governor. People seems like ancient years ago, but not that long ago. So all of this factors into the federal side. All of this factors into what Republicans and what Democrats are able to accomplish on the federal side. And remember, they got Doge going on. They want to cut a lot of the government. And their ability to do that is going to be predicated on whether they can push this through the House. So there you go. Continuing on. Abigail Spanberger is the top Democrat running in Virginia and is widely considered a party powerhouse in the state. Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears is running for the governor's mansion with Youngkin's endorsement. I believe Sears, well, I'm not even going to go into it. I'm not 100% sure. She's a little bit troubling. I think if it's a woman, if it's who I think it is, she's a little bit troubling. Anyway, warning signs loomed this month, especially in New Jersey and Virginia. Trump stunned when he became the first Republican presidential candidate in over 30 years to win radically diverse Passaic County in New Jersey. And he made inroads in Northern Virginia, the suburb machine of the Democrats' statewide advantage. Many of the leading Democrats in New Jersey and Virginia have sought to create distance with the party's left flank and prioritize affordability over social issues, a possible effective strategy after voters prioritize economic issues and Trump blanketed the airways with ads attacking Harris over her position in transgender issues. Murphy's narrower than expected win over Ciattarelli in 2021 alarmed Democrats who had expected to coast in New Jersey but were instead rebuffed by voters' complaints about affordability in the high-tax state. And Youngkin's win in a state that President Joe Biden won by 10 points just a year earlier jolted Democrats there too. Let me just point out another thing that this article doesn't. And, I'm going to just briefly say, once again, the idea that you're going to run away from your base, run away from, quote unquote, transgender issues, social issues. Again, this is ABC News saying this, but huge mistake to just retreat from these issues. The other thing is that there's stuff going on in New York that has really gotten people upset. One of those things is congestion pricing. That was something that had been stopped, but after the Trump win, Kathy Hochul, the governor here, really pushed for that to come through and passed, right? The Biden administration had to sign off on it. That has given a lot of ire to New Jerseyans who come in, who drive into New York. And the right kind of move politically to paint all Democrats, what Kathy Hochul has done, and to paint the Democrat in New Jersey, although Phil Murphy has been absolutely against this, has been suing New York and all this kind of business, but to rope all Democrats into this whole tax and spend, this whole idea of this toll, of this new congestion pricing being a tax that New Jerseyans should not have to pay, and it's all Democrats' fault and everything, that could be a very powerful issue that could help and could hurt the Democrats. It could help the Republicans. Again, it's all going to depend on what Trump does and what his first year looks like. But there are some significant weaknesses. I mean, they indicated it here on ABC, but this is a newer issue with regard to congestion pricing and other things. That's just one thing. Other things that are going on in New York that I believe could have a spillover effect in New Jersey. So, moving on. It's not all doom and gloom for Democrats, though. Democrats performed well in off-year elections in 2017 after Trump's first win and in the 2018 midterm elections. And New Jerseyans, in particular, have traditionally been reluctant to elevate Republicans the year after a Republican wins the White House. And while Trump was able to juice the base and cut into his opponent's advantages, he still fell short in two states where Democrats retain voter registration edges. Trump could also supercharge Democrats' push to coalesce after their losses this month. His policy proposals, including banning travel from several Muslim-majority countries in 2017, infuriated the Democratic base, leading to Democratic successes in 2017 and 2018. So, again, the moral of the story here is that Trump's unpopularity could hurt this effort. However, I believe even more significantly is going to be the politics that are happening in New York that have a spillover effect into New Jersey. In addition, what happens in the House is going to be also extremely important, particularly because there is this narrow majority by the GOP, particularly because what the GOP is looking to do is overreach, and it could be very unpopular with New Jerseyans and Virginians. So, moving on. For rising Democrats, the quiet race to lead the party began months ago. Smart Dems began campaigning while no one was watching. This is extremely important. So this is from the New York Times, Katie Gallek. This is November 30th. And I've said the reason Democrats lose elections is because they don't think about the voter until the election season. And there is no messaging until that time. There has to be year-round voter outreach. Some Democrats get that. This is from the New York Times, November 30th. And it says, in Texas, Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan paid homage to Beyonce, a Houston native, and told a room full of Democratic activists about the party's success in her state. In Georgia, Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania spoke at a storied Atlanta church where the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once preached, introducing himself as a fellow person of faith. And as early voting began in Nevada, Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois was in the state rallying with union members and attending a block party in support of abortion rights. As up-and-coming Democrats blanket the country, campaigning for the presidential ticket, promoting down-ballot candidates, working with national fundraising and cable news circuits, many of them also managed to quietly develop bigger platforms, broader networks, and a batch of new admirers across some of the country's most politically important states. Quote, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, so many candidates had been coming into New Hampshire for years before they actually ran, said Raymond Buckley, the chairman of New Hampshire Democratic Party. For politicians hoping to help their party while building relationships for the future, trips to New Hampshire and North Carolina presented efficient options. Many governors in particular descended on both states to help their would-be fellow chief executives. The most in-demand Democrats in the battleground states included Mr. Wes Moore of Maryland, Governor Wes Moore of Maryland, Ms. Whitmer, Mr. Shapiro, and Governor Gavin Newsom of California, according to a Democrat with direct knowledge of the travel that elected officials did for the Harris campaign, who insisted on anonymity to preserve relationships with them. When the Texas Democratic Party held its convention this year, officials invited several Democrats with national name recognition, said Gilberto Hinojosa, a chairman of the state party. As he recalled, only Ms. Whitmer responded enthusiastically. Mr. Hinojosa said that she delivered a well-received address, and he noted that Mr. Bashir, Andy Bashir of Kentucky, also spoke at a separate party fundraiser in the state. Quote, they were not all aloof, nor did they reveal any sort of elitism that we are hearing turns off the base. Everyone in the room could see them seeking higher office sooner than later. They were among several Democratic leaders who campaigned in conservative territory as well as in battleground states. In interviews, Mr. Bashir signaled that he planned to continue those efforts. Mr. Pritzker, a billionaire and longtime party donor, was involved in state efforts across the country to protect abortion rights, both financially and strategically. It's an approach that could pay dividends in relationships, goodwill, and political infrastructure down the road. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was described as a versatile player. Perhaps his greatest skills, some Democrats said, was his ability to communicate effectively on Fox News. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a spin room surrogate for Mr. Biden and later Ms. Harris, was also a significant fundraiser and active battleground state campaigner who embraced Fox News appearances. No Democratic surrogate was more powerful enough to pull Ms. Harris over the finish line in the battleground states. She lost every one of them, but that hasn't stopped Democrats from talking up leaders in those states as potentially strong candidates in the future, in part because of where they hail from. Mr. Shapiro endorsed 26 down-ballot state candidates in Pennsylvania and appeared on television advertisements with some of them, his team said. In the closing days, he also appeared in an ad for Ms. Harris in Pennsylvania. Democrats ultimately maintained control of the Pennsylvania House, an important development for Mr. Shapiro's governing agenda and, in turn, his future reputation. Ms. Whitmer, Fight Like Hell PAC, endorsed candidates nationwide. In Michigan, the group has led to support more than 160 voter engagement-focused events since January, an aide said. Ms. Whitmer also led a 40-stop bus tour across Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, campaigning alongside other governors, including Mr. Shapiro and Governor Tony Evers of Wisconsin. In Arizona, Mayor Katie Gallego of Phoenix said that Mr. Buttigieg was one of several out-of-staters who drew interest, but Ms. Gallego also played up a home state senator. Arizona is Mark Kelly country, she said, predicting that he would be hard to beat in Arizona if he ran for president. In 2026, Democrats, including Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Moore, and Senator Cory Booker, will be up for re-election, while others like Mr. Waltz and Mr. Pritzker could seek a third term. Mr. Newsom and Ms. Whitmer are term limited. Mr. Waltz is the former, running mate of Kamala Harris. Ms. Harris, speaking of which, Ms. Harris could run for governor in California, but Mr. Buttigieg could do the same in Michigan. How Democratic candidates fare, who has a runaway victory, who underperforms, why, will set the mood music heading into the next presidential election. Some Democrats suggest that they were anticipating a backlash to Republicans by then. I'm looking forward to the midterms, said Representative Kathy Manning of New Jersey. In the Trump era, she predicted we're all going to see some chaos. So this is what they should be doing. This is good politics. This is where you need to be. You don't wait until the election to introduce yourself to the voters. You get out there now. And it's extraordinary. You know, there's this narrative that one of the things that hurt Harris was the fact that she didn't spend 2 years as Trump did running for president, and she didn't have a chance to introduce herself to the people. Anyone who's watched this channel knows that I have said that I don't believe that's true. I don't think there was any way to reach the people. I believe that, they're in a love scam with Donald Trump. And when you're in a love scam, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to reach people. So they're going to see a lot of pain, maybe, but they're going to definitely see chaos. There's no question about that. First, a quick note, and I want to mention this because I don't know that it's getting a lot of coverage, a lot of play. I've only heard it in one place, one or two places, but you can't miss. This is from December 3rd. Axios reported the Democrats won the final uncalled U.S. House race in California on Tuesday, ensuring Republicans will have a painfully minuscule majority next year. Speaker Mike Johnson will have 217 to 215 majority for some key first months of Trump's term due to Reps Michael Waltz and Elise Stefanik joining the Trump administration. Now, I just said earlier that things are going to be very narrow, and New Jersey Republicans are going to have a lot of power. New Jersey and New York Republicans are going to have a lot of power. 217 to 215. First of all, Kathy Hochul should. I don't know about the state rep situation. I don't know if I'm assuming there has to be an election, but if Kathy Hochul can appoint someone to Elise Stefanik's seat, then that's definitely going to be a Democrat. But I don't know that is actually something. I think there has to be an election, but slow walk it. I hope that they know that they're smart enough to do everything in their power to slow walk replacing Elise Stefanik. But 217 to 215 is a 2-vote majority. That's ball game. I mean, the New York and New Jersey Republicans are going to have an incredible amount of power to stop Donald Trump, to craft the agenda, to do everything and anything. I'm not sure how good they are. I don't see why we couldn't get SALT deduction back to blue states. But, again, I don't know how much of a sycophant the New Jersey and New York delegation is. But one thing is that there's an election in New Jersey that I'm sure everyone is paying attention to. And one of the things that was said earlier is that the New York Republicans, New York, New Jersey Republicans are not as sycophantic about Trump as in other locations, although Stefanik is the one exception. Ultimately, the 119th Congress will be Republicans 220 to the Democrats 215. So a 5-vote majority for the Republican. Razor thin. And remember, we've got a continuing resolution. We've got the debt ceiling coming up. A lot of work could be done there to craft an agenda for the next 2 years by Democrats during that fight, if they know how to play it right. My father used to talk about methods of intervention and what you do prior to bad things happening, making a difference. Laying the groundwork with the people will save your ass in the future. While I speculate about Trump 2.0, we cannot miss what's going on with the people that matter. Do not be distracted by the politicians and what the pundits are saying. The next generation of Democrats have been working during and after the 2024 election, and I hope and pray they do not run from the base, but towards it. They need to stop learning how to talk about Republicans and learn how to sell the Democratic vision of America to Americans. They and I need to stop predicting chaos. Trump may surprise us. He's done it before. So that is my take on what's going on. I feel, and I think everyone should feel a little bit better about where Democrats are. Yes, we're licking our wounds. Yes, people are going around and they're doing their analysis. Mostly folks are doing it to get a sense of what to learn, which I think is a good thing. But the more and more Democrats spend on starting to talk about our wins, we had a lot of good wins. North Carolina was a huge, huge win for us. There's a dynamic head of the Democratic Party who is out, a young woman. She is excellent. And we need to be showcasing her. Simon Rosenberg had her on his show recently. And people can't forget that when you donate to organizations, you're not just donating to the top of the ticket, although a lot of money went to Harris. You're also donating to these down ballot tickets. And they're extremely important in crafting the agenda once we're on defense and once we are in the minority, which we will be. So a lot of things happening, a lot of good things happening on the side of Democrats. Don't let all of the naysaying and all of the losses get you down. It's time to focus. And in 2025, we are going to see just how well Democrats, what Democrats learned from this election and what we see going forward. This may be my last video for the year, but I may have another one or two in me before the new year. If not, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and you'll see me on the next one. Take care, guys. Hey there, fantastic viewers. Eric Darnley Small here, and I hope you're loving today's episode of What You Missed. You've reached the end of today's show, but don't worry, there's more show coming up. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click the bell so that you'll be notified when more content is available. You can also help the channel by clicking the like and subscribe buttons. It helps the YouTube algorithm find new viewers so that I can keep bringing you all this incredible content you enjoy. But wait, there are more ways to support the show. You can make a contribution through the show's PayPal, which goes a long way in helping produce even better content for you. And consider becoming a part of our growing community by joining our Mastodon site at mastodon.vtip.me/@whatyoumissed for more engaging discussions and exclusive updates. And here's something you won't want to miss. Mark your calendars for our live show streaming on YouTube and stream.vtip.me Monday mornings, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your support means the world to me, and together we're making What You Missed the best it can be. Thanks for being a part of my journey.